Hi, and welcome back to the Plant-Based Quick Cooking Show. We're coming to you from the Center for Plant-Based Living here in St. Louis, Missouri. And did you know that this is the nation's very first fully plant-based nutrition and culinary education center? We're so excited that we opened last year. We're not so excited that we had to close because of the COVID situation, but we're so excited to be reopening pretty soon. Promise. We're also virtual now. All right. Okay, so this week's recipe is so delicious and so modifiable, if you will. I really want you to make this to your palate. It's an easy peanut sauce that you can put on so many different things. So let's get to it. All right, we're going to start with 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. And I already have that measured out here. What you might want to do is either throw the jar, take the lid off, throw the jar, if it's a glass jar, of peanut butter into either the microwave for 30 seconds, or you can put this into a saucepan with some water and give it a really slow simmer just to warm up the peanut butter. It's going to be a lot easier to mix everything together if you have almost a warm peanut butter, especially if it's been in the fridge for a while. And one quick note about your peanut butter and any of the nut butters that you buy or the seed butters you buy, I don't care what the brand is, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that the only ingredients are that particular nut. So this one just says peanuts. There is a little bit of salt in here. If that doesn't bother you, then perfect. It doesn't bother me. There are many brands out there that have just that nut or just that seed in it. You don't need any extra palm oil or any oils. You don't need added sugars. You don't need words that are 26 letters long that you can't spell or say. You just want the nut, all right? Okay, that's enough. I'm off my soapbox. Nut butter. We're going to be, instead of using a blender today, well, there's a couple of ways you can make this, but I wanted to show you probably my favorite kitchen tool. I wanted to show it off today because you need to have one of these. We'll get there. Take your nut butter and we're going to put it into a mason jar. Mason jar, everybody has a mason jar. And if you don't, you can use, actually, you can just use like, a measuring cup, a 2-cup measuring cup if you want, or a deep shallow bowl. Okay, we've got that in there. And we're gonna do juice and a zest of 1/2 lime. Another one of my favorite kitchen tools. Now I don't have a ton of them because I don't like a lot of clutter. So the tools that I use really very, very often. Lime. Oh, we need our jar. And you know what, I'm just gonna put this, I'm gonna zest it right here on this cutting board because I'm going to add some things to it. This is a microplane. Oh, it smells so delicious in here. Don't you love the scent of fresh citrus? Just brightens everything up. Now don't get too far down into that pith. You really just want to get the top little bit of your little lime. Be sure to wash beforehand. Oh, that's just beautiful. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, we're going to use the juice of the half of this guy also. Okay. Now to get the juices really flowing, if it's pretty firm, just roll it really well. Apply some pressure. Some people say, and though I haven't tried it before, some people say that if you put your fruit, lime or lemon, into a microwave for like, I don't know, 10 seconds or so, that helps all the juices as well. But, if you could just do this, why not, yeah? All right, so it's nice and soft. Take your knife. Oh, and by the way, we're going to go through this a lot, so let's just start now. This is not how you hold a knife, right? This is not how you hold a knife. I don't know anybody's fingers that are so strong that really help you cut whatever you're cutting. No, on that knife, it's yours. It's an extension of your hand. So what you want to do is grab the very bottom, pinch the very bottom of that blade and wrap your hand around that handle. Now you own that knife. Give it a nice slice. And because most limes in the grocery stores that you'll find now don't have any seeds, you can just go ahead and take a fork and get in there and But I'm not going to do that today because tool number 2, we're going to use a zester. I'm sorry, a juicer. I'm going to put the green in the green, and remember it's face side to cut side down. Put that little guy in there. And get all the juices in there. Then, if you have a garbage disposal, throw this into your garbage disposal, and your kitchen will smell so delightful. Do that later. All right, now I'm looking at my recipe over there, 2 garlic cloves. I like to get these, it's kind of a cheater's way of doing it, so sorry. I go to just any grocery store around here. We actually have a really great international grocery store just a block and a half away from the shop, and I get this peeled garlic, and I throw it in the freezer just like this, and it lasts months and months. If it were going to last months and months, but we go through it pretty quickly. So, but if you do this, just keep it in your freezer. Now, if we were going to whisk by hand, like with a fork or a whisk, this entire recipe, I would say mince your garlic really, really small. You could mince it using a garlic press or chop, 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 if that's your thing. Sometimes that's therapeutic for people. I like to use the microplane again. So you could just go ahead and mince a couple of cloves here, and I'm just going to put this right on top of our zest. And if you like more garlic, add more garlic. Totally up to you. Now, I don't need to be doing this, and I'll show you why in just a second. I mean, it's fine that we're doing it. I'm actually going to add 3 garlic cloves. Oh, so good. Just because I've, made this a million times, and I just like a little bit more garlic in mine. All right, now ginger. That punch. Love the punch of ginger. I keep these in little baggies, or if I buy a lot of garlic or ginger, I'll put it in one of those big freezer bags. Throw it in the freezer. This, again, if you had it to last forever, it would last forever. I go through it pretty quickly. While it's frozen, it's super easy to mince with your microplane. So do the very same thing. And oh my gosh, I wish you were here with me right now. It smells so delightful. Ah, yes. And you can see maybe how big. Sorry, that jar was right in your way. Look at that pile of minced deliciousness. Oh, wow, that's so good. Okay, I have my little trash bowl here, like I always have. Okay, now we have all of that business and 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos. I like this Trader Joe's coconut aminos simply because of the price. The price, I think it's like $2.99, and everywhere else I've seen it in any of our grocery stores around here, considerably more expensive. The other reason I like the coconut aminos is because it is lower in sodium. It has just that little tiny hint of sweetness, so it's not quite as salty as, let's just say Bragg's amino, although I still like Bragg's, and of course soy sauce. So I'm just a really big fan of this coconut aminos. 1 tablespoon. So delicious. And 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. I really like maple syrup in this recipe because I like the flavor of maple syrup. If you don't have it, or if you want to use honey or whatever liquid sweetener you have at home, fine. Totally fine. This is your recipe now. Okay, now I'm going to put these guys in the sink. Now we're going to add all of this business, all of our shaved, if you will, ingredients, and put it right in our jar. Oh, it's just so delightful making this. It smells so good, so fresh. Okay, are you ready? My favorite, my favorite. The immersion blender, or the stick blender, whatever you want to call it. This thing, if you just have a little bit of something to blend up and you don't want to get out your blender, this. I got this, I think at Bed Bath & Beyond, maybe $30 or so. And I mean, I probably got it 15 years ago. So it lasts, and I use it pretty often, and we use it for classes here at the Center for Plant-Based Living. So, it's going to last you a while. And it's just an easier cleanup. Now I'm going to add a little bit, like probably a tablespoon of water just to get things moving, and we'll see how thick it is. And then I'm just going to add a little bit more because I want to get things, there we go. We really want to get things moving. I mean, it just pulverizes everything. Okay, now when you come to a class at our shop, we like to call it our shop, and you are enrolled in a hands-on class, it's important that you always taste what you're making because I want you to like what you're making. Everybody has different palates, and I always tell people you can't please all the people all the time, but we still try. Huh. All right. That is amazing. That is so good. Oh my gosh. All right, I don't even think, and typically I like to add or still play, but that's pretty great the way it is. It's a little gritty, so I'm just going to add a couple more seconds. All right. Now, the reason I put it in a mason jar is because just about everybody has a mason jar, and if you don't, then you know that you can just get them super cheap at any grocery store, Target, wherever you are. If you buy one of these blenders, sometimes they're like, oh, you have to get all these different accessories. You have to get this jar. You have to get that jar. No, you don't. You just have to get this. Because by the way, make it, top it, seal it, put it in the fridge, done. And then when you're ready to use it, because everything will kind of settle just a little bit, not a lot, just give it a shake and then pour it over whatever you're using it for. It's great. Oh gosh, the list is so long. It's so great for, any international, like, what did I put this on? Pad Thai, cold noodles, hot noodles. We're going to be making a kebab pretty soon. We're going to drizzle this on. It's so delicious. So I hope that you really enjoy it. Oh, it makes a great slaw dressing. Oh, wow, so good. All right, I think that's it. You know that the Plant-Based Quick Show every week, if we're doing a recipe, is only going to have 7 ingredients or less, and it's going to be under 30 minutes. So we did both of those things today, and I introduced you to 3 pieces of equipment that I love that will not break the bank. And you got a new sauce out of it. All right, see you next week. Take good care.